There is a piece of money advice you have heard 100 times. Skip the daily coffee and you will finally be rich. It sounds almost too simple to be true, and honestly, it kind of is. But there is a real number hiding underneath it. So let us stop repeating the slogan and actually do the math, carefully and honestly, to see exactly where it leads. Start with just the cash, before any investing tricks. $5 a day, every single day, adds up to about $1,800 a year. Most people never see it as one lump sum, because it leaves their account $5 at a time, buried between groceries and gas. Painless in the moment, invisible on the statement, and quietly relentless year after year after year. Now stretch that same habit across a working lifetime. 30 years of buying the exact same coffee, counting only the cash and no interest whatsoever, means you have handed the counter more than $54,000 in total. That is a luxury car, paid for one cup at a time, without a single person ever noticing the transaction was happening at all. But cash spent is not the real cost, and this is where it gets interesting. The real cost is what that money could have become if it had grown instead of disappeared. Invested in a broad index fund at a rough 7% average return, those same daily fives stop being coffee and start behaving like a slow, quiet engine building wealth in the background. Here is what that engine produces. Take every $5 you would have spent, invested instead for 30 years at that historical average, and the coffee money grows into roughly $180,000. That is the figure the old advice is really pointing at. Not the cup itself, but the small fortune quietly dissolving inside it, one sip at a time. Watch how the gap opens up over time. In the early years, spent and invested look almost identical, which is exactly why nobody bothers to change. But compounding is patient. By year 30, the invested line has pulled dramatically away from the cash you simply handed over, and the distance between those two paths is the entire point of this video. So the gurus are technically right, and I want to be fair to them. The coffee really does cost real money over a lifetime. And yet here is the honest twist they almost never say out loud, the part that quietly changes everything: coffee is a small rock. Your budget is not built from small rocks. It is dominated by a few very large ones. Look at where a typical household's money actually goes, and the picture snaps into focus. Housing, transportation, and food together swallow the clear majority of every paycheck that comes in. Coffee, and every other little treat you feel guilty about, does not even earn a visible slice on this chart. The things we obsess over are rarely the things that matter. Here is why that distinction matters so much. Overpay by just $200 a month on a car you did not actually need, a bigger trim, a longer loan, a nicer badge, and over the very same 30 years that single quiet decision costs you around $245,000 in lost growth. One choice, made once, outruns the entire coffee habit. Put the two side by side and the whole lesson flips on its head. Cutting the daily coffee genuinely helps, and I am not telling you to ignore it. But right-sizing one single big rock, the house or the car, is worth more than the entire coffee sacrifice, without you giving up one thing you actually enjoy on a daily basis. And it is not just the car. Think about the house. Buying more square footage than you use quietly drags a bigger mortgage, higher property taxes, more insurance, and endless upkeep behind it for decades. Stretch that gap over 30 years and a single oversized home decision can cost a family well over $300,000 in money that never got the chance to compound. This is the framing almost no one teaches, so let me make it simple. Your expenses are not all equal. A few enormous decisions, made rarely, set the entire shape of your financial life. Dozens of tiny ones, made daily, barely move the needle by comparison. The order you attack them in is the difference between feeling deprived and actually getting somewhere. None of this means you have to give up the thing you genuinely enjoy. It means the sequence matters more than the sacrifice. Fix the big rocks first, where a single well-timed choice quietly moves six figures over a lifetime. Then, and only then, trim the small comforts if you still want to. Start at the top of the list, not the bottom. And if you do both, the effect stacks beautifully. Invest the reclaimed coffee money and the reclaimed car money together, side by side, over that identical 30-year window, and the combined result climbs to roughly $425,000. That is a number most people assume quietly requires a huge salary to reach, when it mostly requires better ordering. There is one more force working in your favor that the coffee debate completely ignores: time. Money invested early does not just add up, it compounds on itself, doubling roughly every 10 years at these returns. Which means the fives you redirect in your 20s do far more work than the same fives in your 50s. Starting early beats trying harder later, almost every time. So the next time someone points smugly at your cup, you will actually know the whole picture instead of just the slogan. Yes, the coffee is real money, roughly $180,000 over a lifetime, and that is worth respecting. But the house, the car, and the years are where the real fortune quietly hides, waiting for someone to finally look. Which brings the decision back to you, where it always belonged. You now know the small rocks, the big rocks, and the quiet power of time working underneath all of it. So here is my honest question for the comments. What is the one big rock in your budget, the house, the car, the anything, that you could right-size first? Tell me below.